Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alan Smason, and welcome once again to NOLA Theatre Talk. We actually broadcast to various different groups, if you will, on the internet. We do this as often as we can on Mondays. And again, tonight we are going to be dealing with talking about the Saenger Theater. We're going to be talking, of course, about the New Orleans Theater Association. But if you're not familiar, we are broadcasting on the NOLA Theatre Folk Facebook group. If you're part of that group, and membership is free, you can just join, or the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, or perhaps even checking it out on my YouTube channel. You can see it all there. We invite you to join in every Monday that we have our broadcast. I try to do it as many times on Mondays. It used to be Mondays and Fridays, but now that Fridays are opening up for a lot of theater, I'm out seeing shows, so not available as much. The one thing that we do tell you, a caveat, is if you are on Facebook or perhaps on YouTube and you wanted to make a comment, please put in https://facebook.com/StreamYard. The reason why is that allows StreamYard, which is the application we use to broadcast, to let Facebook know that you are a good and a well-regulated person on this show, and that we would then allow and permit your name to be broadcast. Now, if you want to be anonymous, that's no problem, but we would encourage you to put that in. A lot of times we know who you are, but only after the show has been broadcast and we see the names. If during the course of the show you'd like to make yourself known, please let us see your name by just putting that in and going to facebook.com/StreamYard. All right, very good. So our guest tonight is again, a person who has been an integral figure in the New Orleans theater scene. I'm going to bring him in now. Again, those of you who do not know him, he's been on previous shows with us. Mike Mitchell is the head, if you will. Do you have the name of director, or is that the name of what you are? Or
President.
All right, so you are El Presidente of the New Orleans Theater Association. And for those of you who are not familiar with the New Orleans Theater Association, they are a group that works hand in hand with the Saenger Theater in terms of not selecting the shows, and we'll get into that a little bit, but in terms of the partnership that you all have allows you to have certain monies that are raised, and then you distribute those monies back to the needing companies that are here. I say, they are many different people derive benefits from your grants. And again, we're going to get into that in terms of the process. But again, Mike, how old is the New Orleans Theater Association now?
It was formed in 1985, so it's got some seasoning on it, but it's morphed over time. It's evolved. When we for the first 10, 15 years of our existence, the money we raised, we used to provide a summer camp for students in various theater arts. And it gradually dawned on us that was awfully expensive. We had to have an executive director. We had to buy lots of insurances and so on, teachers and all the rest. And that there were plenty of other organizations that were doing summer camps at least that good. Ours was good, but so was everybody else's. Mm-hmm. And we thought, no, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to become a granting organization. We will give our money to others to support various causes that we think are interesting and helpful.
So since 85, I think you said, is that right? Mm-hmm. Since 85, have you got an idea about how many grants, or at least maybe the money, the total number in funds that you've given out? Is there an estimate there?
The number I can give you is post-Katrina, because that's when we really started granting money in substantial sums, and it's been about $4 million.
Wow. Yeah. So that's in the last 17 years alone, $4 million.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, the New Orleans Theater Association has done granting to groups, and I will be the first person in transparency. I was the head of the American Theater Critics Association back in 2015. We brought about 80 theater critics from across the country to New Orleans at the same time as the Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival. And we received a grant from the New Orleans Theater Association to put that conference on. And I have to tell you, had we not had that grant money, it would have been near impossible for us to bring that conference to fruition, because there were certain specifics that we could not manage without a certain amount of funding. And I think that we actually, helped the local climate, if you will, the atmosphere, the theater scene, as well as the tourist scene, in terms of people coming here who were writers. A lot of them were travel writers. A lot of people got a taste of New Orleans literally at restaurants, saw what we have in the theater community here, saw what the Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival was doing, and they were able to bring that back and write about it and get more information to people who might be thinking about coming to New Orleans. And I think it was a win-win situation. But again, without that, you just couldn't have the conference take part. Again, some of the things that you do, Mike, I know, this is a picture of you with some kids. I'm not quite sure this is what. Do you know what group this is? They're all wearing Broadway shirts.
That's called the Broadway Theater Connection. And it is an organization that is run by and staffed by professionals, people who have Broadway credentials. And they bring the kids in for a couple of weeks of training. A smaller group goes on for that second week of special training. We call them master classes, but they're learning things about Broadway dancing or presentation, interview, how to give a monologue, how to sing 8 bars of a song if you're being interviewed. It's a very professional, very good organization. We like them very much.
And I think I know who it is that puts it on. It's a New Orleans native, if I'm not mistaken. I think Jessica Hartman who does that, and she actually is a Broadway, veteran, if you will. And I know she's actually able to every now and then get some Broadway veterans, including Brian Batt, who you see there.
Yes, he's there almost every year.
Yeah, that's great, and that's Jessica, right? I think next to him. So again, this is an opportunity that would not exist except for the fact that those grants and your sponsorship, didn't take place. That's fantastic. So you're doing some of the work that previously was done by other organizations like NORD. They're not doing those plays, not getting those kids involved. So other people have to sort of lift that up, and again, they're not all able to afford it. So you're able to really bring the money to the needing organizations who can then give their program to the kids, and that's really important. But
We're very happy to do it.
And you don't just do theater, though. I mean, you also do things and events that have to do with music, right? I mean, it's cultural, right?
That is that's a picture of the New Orleans Traditional Jazz Camp. They have that every summer. We've supported them several times, and it is a very broad range of theater that we support. We define theater very, very broadly, whether it's music or dance or creative writing, all sorts of things like that. We support it very broadly. One of our musical recipients is the New Orleans Chamber Orchestra. Another one is Lyrica Baroque. Another one is Jazz at the Sandbar over at UNO, which is a longtime beneficiary of ours.
Yeah, and again, just so we know, not just the traditional jazz, but as you mentioned, you've got people who are classically oriented, right?
That's exactly right. Now, these are students. What we're looking at here are kids who went to Ben Franklin, and that was one of our earliest grants. It's kind of an interesting story how we started, when we started granting after Katrina. The grants were very small. Nobody knew to apply to us because we were new on the scene. And we sort of reached out to some of the schools, what kind of help do you need? And one of them was Ben Franklin. And they said, look, we have some musicians here, violin players, who are going to be in a competition. And they're very good, and they have a chance at winning and so on. But all of their strings, all of their bows are warped or out of shape or old or whatever happens to dried out, whatever happens to things like that. Can you help us out? And that was an easy one. I'll tell you another interesting one. I think the very first grant we might have made was to Carver High School to buy a tuba. Their band had been invited to D.C. to participate in an inaugural parade, and they were getting new uniforms and doing car washes and bake sales and the things that high school kids do, but they needed the tuba, and it was kind of expensive for them. They were down in the dumps about it, and we called up and said, look, we'd like to contribute. We found out how much it was, and we said, we'll pay for the whole thing. Use the bake sale money for something else. We'll buy a tuba for you. And it was, from there, it's just grown steadily every year.
Well, again, there are a lot of kids who are involved in music, and then there are those others who are involved in dance. And I wanted to bring this one up as well. This is obviously a ballet group. I'm not quite sure if that's New Orleans Ballet Association or a less than professional group, but do you know who that is?
I believe that is the Ballet Association.
Oh, good. I thought it might be.
Yeah, they have a summer camp program too, and actually they teach all kinds of dance at that summer program, including hip hop and ballet's one of them. Maybe ballroom dancing. I don't know. But other dance groups include a group called Dancing Grounds, which is not professional. That's very amateur. But they have, every year, they have a confab that they call Dancing for Social Change. And the kids pick out a theme that they want to support. And they do that. They do it through dance. And it's been very satisfying work over the years.
Well, you've got some, like I say, some amazing groups that are the beneficiaries of what you do. That is a group. I think that's the NOLA Project doing a piece out at City Park.
Right.
And again, you encourage their works there at the Sculpture Gardens, and they do that every year, and they're the beneficiaries. And again, then they're kids like making masks, and I guess these are all. If not paper mache, then they're something else that's very similar to it. And again, just kids being kids and enjoying themselves and expressing their artistic sides. That's just fantastic.
Right.
So
they express it in all kinds of ways. And it is amazing, back to what you were saying earlier about the theater critics group that you're part of. It's interesting to us how so many things overlap with so many other things. You said it was during the Tennessee Williams Festival, which we support. That's one of our grantees. You had the opportunity to take the critics to La Petite to see a performance. La Petite is one of our grantees. On and on. I mean, it just it's very, very satisfying.
And again, I don't know whether or not you might want to come a little closer to your speaker mic because we get a little feedback. Sure. But again, we were able to back then show several of the facilities. We took them out to Kenner Rivertown. We took them out to the JPAC, which had not even opened yet. But Dennis Asaf, and at that time, president of the parish, John Young, invited us to come inside and look at the facility. Again, it's putting New Orleans on display, letting people see it, and I think that's important. Before we go any further, I got to figure out what you brought into the room tonight, because it's New Orleans, and I brought in, and this is a Tujague's glass that was specific that they had the 1856. I guess that's the year that Tujague's was founded. That's their 1856 Sazerac glass they had for a special promotion. So I made a Sazerac, because what's more New Orleans for the New Orleans Theater Association than a Sazerac, right? What else? What you got?
That sounds good to me. I am enjoying a lovely whiskey sour.
Okay.
This simple, old-time, equal parts lemon juice and whiskey, and a little sugar and a cherry.
And in case anybody doesn't know how to make a Sazerac, I use sugar cubes. Quite a number of dashes, not just one or two, but a few more than that, of the of the bitters that we all know and love, Pay Show bitters, and then anywhere between 1.5 to 2 ounces of rye whiskey, which is what is the preferred drink. Although I see some people sometimes make their Sazeracs with bourbon, and it's then stirred, not shaken. And we add I add a little water there to make my my simple syrup, as it were. And then you basically stir it, don't shake it, and then you pour it into a glass that has been coated with herb scent and a little bit of a zest of lemon, and you're good to go. So we have talked a little bit about what's going on with New Orleans Theater Association, and I don't want to take away from your role as the president of that and what you do with that. But one of the other things that we promised we were going to talk tonight about was the upcoming season, the 2022-23 season for the Saenger. Now, again, I think I said it correctly that you work hand in hand with the Saenger team. And again, it's led by David Skinner, who was on our program about a year ago, doing sort of the same show that we're doing today, except talking about what was going to be coming to New Orleans at that time. And again, they have what they call the Broadway Across America group,
right?
And they basically get kind of together with them and figure out what shows might be available when a show is traveling, let's say, to Atlanta, and then there's another show that might be going to Dallas or perhaps to Houston, and you can see a window of opportunity there for New Orleans. Then you kind of sneak in there. Is that kind of
that's exactly how it works. That's how they plan these things out, at least a year ahead, sometimes further than that. We NOTA are the local presenters of the Broadway series. That does not mean we're the producers. That we have no role in the selection of the plays or the musicals. That is strictly a function of the Saenger. But what we do is behind the scenes at a somewhat lower level than that, and we facilitate the coordination between the stage and the Saenger management and Broadway Across America and so on. And for those services, we receive a portion of the revenue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the source of our income. We're one of the few charitable organizations that I know of that isn't constantly asking for donations. We don't need donations, folks. We need people to accept our money. We're happy to give it out.
And I think it's also, I guess implied that you're going to encourage people to go to the Saenger, because more seats that are filled in the Saenger means more revenue for you to give out to the different grantees, right?
You're darn right, and that's why I'm so glad it's a good season. And everybody who's considering buying a ticket, just remember, part of that ticket is going to go to the good work that NOTA does. So
I'm going to start off. This is the very first show of the season, and it's one of the few shows that I haven't seen. I had several opportunities to see Pretty Woman, and as a reviewer, I'm not allowed to see shows when they're in what they call previews. So I think the show was about to go out of previews like at the end of July, and I happened to be there like on the 26th or the 27th of July, and the show did not open until like the 28th or the 29th. And they said, oh, no, you cannot come until it's actually. And the reason why, and the reason why people may not recognize it, but up until the time that a show opens, it is still fluid.
Sure.
It can be changed. They can add a song. They can take a song out. And they don't want the reviewers going in and saying, that song in Act 2 was spectacular. That song in Act 2 was terrible. And then the next night it's taken out. So they really want the shows to be what they call frozen. And they really are not frozen until the show opens. Once the show is open, they are legally not allowed to change it in any way. So have you, obviously, I think most people have seen the movie that it's based on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you remember that's the Richard Gere and Julia Roberts movie, of course, and Hector Elizondo was in it as well. Had a number of different roles and a lot of different pieces that come out of that people will remember some of the lines, etc. But again, that's probably one of the more recognizable. If you saw that picture, that's from Pretty Woman. Not necessarily it's Pretty Woman the musical, but I guess you might take a gander and say yes, why not? But it's a show that I didn't get to see because it was either too early for me to see as a reviewer, or they had already had a number of reviews when I went back, and they said, we don't need you anymore. And I think one of the reasons why was that several of the people who do reviews were not as kind to it as we would have liked to have seen that. But I know people who went and saw it and were really pleased with it. A lot of diehard movie fans just loved it. And again, you may recognize that's her character. That's the Julia Roberts role. And again, she's on, I guess you might say, street walking at that point in time, but with the big boots, etc. And again, a tremendous challenge for somebody who has to do that, because that role is a big role. And I've heard the songs. Anybody who's not heard them, I always encourage people to check out the CDs ahead of time, because they really do have a lot of music to offer. The persons who were starring on Broadway in this, I don't know if you know who that is, but Samantha Bark starred in the out of town tryouts, if you will, in Chicago, and she went to Broadway with it. And the person who was, I believe, on stage in Chicago was Stephen Kazee, who a lot of people may remember from Once, and he won. I think at least he was nominated. I think I'm almost positive he won too for Once. But this is what happens sometimes. The producers say, "Well, this guy's a good act. He's really a very good actor, but we think we got a better draw." So when the show went to Broadway, they replaced Stephen Kazee, who's a tremendous talent, with Andy Carl, who's perhaps a little bit bigger talent. People may remember Andy Carl was in Rocky. He was also, of course, in Groundhog Day. He's been around for a long time on Broadway and established. So they used the same lady, but they put in a different Richard Gere role, if you will, the multi-millionaire, billionaire, whatever, in the role. But again, that's what's going to kick off the season. And if I'm, again, I'm going to try to go through this in the order that these things are going. So that actually kicks off the season in October, and the exact dates I'm going to get right now. So anybody who's wondering when to go, the exact dates for the show are October October the 4th to October the 9th. So you only really have, that 5-day stretch to go, Tuesday through Sunday, that you can be able to see the show, October the 4th through the 9th. And if you haven't seen it, again, I encourage you, those of you who are fans of the movie, to definitely go and check it out. That's the first of the shows that's on slate for the season for 2022-23. And I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the brand that we have for our little symbol there. It's a big white square, but you'll recognize that it's the Saenger Theater there. So that's as we get into the meat of the show now. The second show that we're going to be talking about has been one that was, I would say, one of the biggest hits on the West End. It came to Broadway just as the pandemic was about to happen, and I'm almost positive it was like opening night that they were ready to go, and they got the notice that all of Broadway was being shut down. And of course, the show I'm talking about has played very successfully on Broad since. But hold on a second, I'm getting ahead of myself. The second show is not that one. The second show is Lion King, which has been on many, many times. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Lion King is the second show. I'm trying to get them in order here. Lion King came out, of course, back, I want to say, 1996? Is that about right?
That sounds right.
About the right time. And it was around the same time as Chicago, the musical. Lion King, of course, fantastic. Julie Taymor, costumes that they did, the execution with the various animals from Africa, and the makeup was just fantastic. So again, the songs were originally done by Elton John with Tim Rice, but it was changed for the musical. And those of you who know, Lion King has been only the second show to reach $1 billion box office after Phantom of the Opera and Wicked. Those are the three shows that have made $1 billion at the box office. Wicked did it quicker than Lion King, but by about a year maybe, and Lion King did it about 12 years faster than Phantom of the Opera. And again, that'll give you some semblance of how many people have been going to see Lion King. It's at the Minskoff Theater, of course, in New York, still playing well.
Alan, let me give you a quick anecdote about what NOTA does not do, and a misunderstanding. What we do not select the performers any more than we select the shows. I got an email at one point from someone who said, "Dear Mr. Mitchell, I'm very interested in a career in the theater. Do you think you could get me a small part in Lion King?" No, I cannot.
Yeah, I know. I understand how that goes. Unfortunately, the way it goes is that if you want to get to Broadway, just like you want to get to Carnegie Hall, practice. That's the only way to do it. I don't know. It involves a quite bit of luck. Okay, let me get back. The show I was talking about earlier that was such a big hit on the West End and then was brought to Broadway, about to open up, and then the pandemic set in. I think I gave it away, but it's Six. Now, those of you who don't know what Six is all about, it is a very, very fast-paced musical that deals with the 6 wives of Henry VIII. And if you've not heard the music, it's very upbeat, very much hip hop, not rap necessarily, although there's a little bit of rapping that may go into it, but it's not what I would call gangster rap that some people might connect it with some other types of musicals that we've had. This is fast paced. It's reminiscent of some of the shows that you might see, like Ariana Grande or Beyonce or some of the more popular acts that are out there right now. And what it is the premise of the show is you've got the 6 wives of Henry VIII who have been brought back to life to stage the show, and they have a competition among themselves, as it were, as to which wife either had the worst deal or was the most deserving of recognition. And of course, one is divorced, one is beheaded, one dies, one is divorced, one is beheaded, and one survives. So that's the way that goes. So you have the 6 wives, and again, fantastic lighting. I mean, I'm certain, for the costumes, just a wonderful production. It will be over the top. One of the best things you'll see. Again, designed to please more of the younger set than some of the traditional audiences that we might see. But you got an idea right there. I mean, now this is from the original Broadway cast, and 2 of those members have left now. Adriana Hicks and Abby Mueller, who were the first wife, Catherine of Aragon, and Jane Seymour. They both have left the show, but they've been replaced, obviously. And of course, if the name Abby Mueller sounds familiar to you, Mike, she was slated to be Carole King's, if you will, the actress portraying Carole King in Beautiful the Musical. Wow. when it came to the Saenger, and guess what happened? She got called up to the big leagues, and she took over the role that her sister had actually originated of Carole King on Broadway. So she actually had been called up. So she was going to perform in New Orleans. I was really looking forward to Abby Mueller performing here, and she didn't perform because the standby actress came into the role and actually took over the role at that point on the road, while Abby went up to play on Broadway. So
what a great story.
Yeah,
that's one of my all-time favorite shows, by the way.
And I was very pleased to be able to see Jessie in the role. A very gracious lady. As a matter of fact, I saw her after she performed in the Minutes on Broadway just a few weeks ago. I was back up in New York, and I saw her, and I showed her the picture that we had taken together outside the Neil Simon Theater when she was doing Beautiful. And I left. I said, "Here's a beautiful picture." So, and she laughed. But she was with some friends. I didn't want to intrude on her, but I got close enough to say hello and close enough to kind of acknowledge and not be too much of a nudge or a pest. So that's the first. We got Pretty Woman, Lion King, and now 6. Those are the first 3 shows. And again, for those of you who are interested about the dates for those, let's go ahead and give those out to you as well, because I would be remiss if I didn't give all those dates out. The dates for Lion King are October the 27th to November the 13th. It is a longer run than what you might expect. So it's not going to be on for just 5 days. It's on for what would it be, almost 2 weeks. So you would want to try to get your tickets now, because I know that it's going to be, if not selling out completely, it'll sell out. And 6, the musical, opens at the end of November, right after Thanksgiving, and it runs only for 5 days till December the 4th. And that is going to be a hot ticket to get. I promise you, it's going to be pretty difficult. Now, again, right after, they're smart enough to know, every year that they want to put on a show, and they want to put on a show that's going to also have some Christmas value to it. I mean, we've had several things. I know they did Elf not too long ago, and I'm trying to go through some of the other things that they did. I think they did Holiday Inn not too long ago that had White Christmas in it, et cetera. That was Irving Berlin's Holiday Inn at the Saenger. So for Christmas, they have to come up with something that will pass muster. And the show that they've got, and I don't have any pictures yet, unfortunately, because the people who do their public relations for the Saenger said they haven't been sent them yet. So hopefully they will be sent. But let me go ahead and get the show that's going to be coming up for Christmas time. So if you got kids and you're looking to have an opportunity to go see a show, the show that's going to open up for Christmas is, of course, the very famous Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical. Now, this is a new musical. This is not what you might have seen on TV. So it's going to be a big cast. I'm not sure. I know that this played, my friend Stuart Zagnett was in that show when it played on Broadway, but it was a limited run, only ran like from November to December, right around Christmas time, and then it closed. So I don't know that much about it. I haven't seen any pictures from it, production shots, etc. Do you know anything about it, Mike, at all?
I do not. I'm sorry to say.
Okay.
I like the TV show.
Well, and of course, everybody remembers Boris Karloff was the voice of the narrator there, and did that "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch" that everybody still remembers to this day. So that's the one we're going to have again for Christmas. And again, the dates for that show for Grinch are December the 13th to the 18th. So again, of the 5-day typical Saenger show run, starting on a Tuesday and then ending on a Sunday. Again, those of you who have not seen this, and I have not seen it myself, I'm kind of looking forward to it myself. Please go avail yourself of that. It'll be running all the way up until about a week before Christmas.
Here's a bit of trivia for you. In the original TV show, the guy who sang "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch" was also the voice of Tony the Tiger.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Well, you know what? He was great.
He really was. Yeah.
So let's go on adding more to the season. Right after the Christmas shows, right after Christmas and New Year's, it's going to be time for again a number of shows before we have to slow down. In New Orleans, we have 2 seasons. We have the season that takes place before Mardi Gras and the season that takes place after Mardi Gras. So we have to kind of, keep that in mind. But after Christmas, before Mardi Gras actually starts to get into its full swing, we have the Andrew Lloyd Webber, Tim Rice, spectacular Jesus Christ Superstar. And again, I'm not certain that much that I know about this particular version. I know that it is a touring version. It looks very, very different than some of the traditional Jesus Christ Superstars I've seen before. It looks a lot more modern. The staging looks a little bit more, I guess you might say it's got a sort of a modern look to it. Obviously, that's the Gospels who are together, the apostles, and you've got the sign there of the cross. So again, I'm not sure that I can go into that, but it is The perennial favorite, Jesus Christ Superstar, was on TV with John Legend not that long ago on NBC.
He did a good job.
It's toured here for a long time. Considered that and Tommy considered the first two rock musicals, and it really is more of a rock musical in the sense of a rock opera than a rock musical. It really is. I would consider Tommy more of a musical than an opera, although they did call it a rock opera. But I think Andrew Lloyd Webber was really starting to branch out with Jesus Christ Superstar, and it became one of his biggest successes. And again, anybody who has not seen it thus far, it is not exactly a passion play in the regards that it tells the story of Jesus Christ in the traditional manner that you might expect. It is influenced by the music, and there are certain things that are brought into it that probably would not pass muster with some people, but I think it was done with the best of intentions. And I think it's become more acceptable nowadays than when it probably came out when it was first out. I think it had a lot more controversy that was attributed to it.
It's been done in so many styles too. The very first time I've seen it many times. The first time I saw it was a concert version, and that was actually one of the better performances that I saw.
Yeah, I saw it at the Saenger when it first came here, and of course it was made into a movie. So it's had a lot. But Jesus Christ Superstar opens January the 10th and closes on January the 15th. Again, 5 days, opening on a Tuesday and then ending on a Sunday. And again, right before Carnival, they've got time for the next show, which is going to come out, which again, we actually have a video of this, but I wanted to show you. This is Nkeki Obi Malekwi, who is, and I probably butchered the name, but this is a shot of the lady who is actually playing the title role in the musical Tina, the Tina Turner musical. Again, I saw this with her on stage, and there you have it. This is a fantastic role for an actress. She's on stage constantly, very little breaks and all kinds of different styles of music, etc. But again, I've got a video that I wanted to share. So, Mike, we're going to take a little bit of a short break while we put the video up. And basically, anybody who has not seen what Tina's about, you'll get a little bit of a montage here about some of the things, because it's about family. It's about the abuse she suffered with Ike Turner, how she came out of that, and how she kind of reinvented herself. So it's really a wonderful tale of somebody who goes through a lot of different changes, has a lot of adversity, and yet is able to rise above it. So here you go. This is Tina. Let's see if we can. There you go.
Looks good.
It is a great show. Again, it is one of those shows that I would recommend. If you don't know Tina Turner's music, and who doesn't know Tina Turner's music, but if you do know the music, you will enjoy it. It's sort of like the Motown musical, if you're familiar with the Motown musical. And recently, of course, I got to see MJ the musical. And who's not familiar with Michael Jackson? But Tina Turner's music is really well done, and the orchestra, you could see, is on stage constantly. The lights, but they go through all kinds of songs, from Nutbush City Limits to Shake a Tail Feather to River Deep Mountain High, Proud Mary, that you heard, Private Dancer. And then What's Love Got to Do with It? Again, it's simply the best. So many different, songs that were really her signature songs that everybody knows and loves. So again, that's coming up, and it just closed on Broadway. It was on for a good while. It had to shut down, because of the pandemic. And once they reopened, they had to shut down for a brief period of time again. But they came back up, and again, that's running February the 7th through February the 12th for those days that it's going to run Tuesday through Sunday like normal at the Saenger. But again, one that I really recommend people go check that out, because it really is one of your best events that you're going to see on the stage, the Saenger, coming up in 2023. And then at the end of February, I have to say, this is something that means a lot to me, because I saw the show. I'm thinking it was 2016. Yeah, that's when it was, 2016. Fiddler on the Roof, and you can see when I take my CDs to Broadway, I get all the people to sign the CDs. That's why I never have to worry about where my programs are, because if I got the CD, I've got all my signatures there. So everybody from Danny did sign this one, among other people. I didn't get Judy Kuhn because she wasn't in the show until towards the end. But again, those of you who are not familiar with Fiddler on the Roof, I don't know what rock you've been living under, but Danny Burstein did it. Jessica Heck was the Golda at that time, and again, just a fantastic opportunity to see what has long been one of the favorite shows on Broadway, and it has to do again with family. Yes, it's about Jewish, I guess you might say, downtrodden people in Russia, but it's really more about family. It's not just. I mean, there are people in Japan who they see Fiddler on the Roof and say, "This is about my family," and nothing could be further from the truth in a sense. Let me see. I believe again, I've got a little bit of some pictures that we wanted to show of what's going on with Fiddler, and again, this is in February. So let's see if we can throw a couple of photos up from what we've got. Some of these, unfortunately, are rather large. Tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to go and put the Fiddler. Everybody should know what's going on with the video that I'm going to show on this one. This is from the opening, and then I'll come back with some pictures.
Tradition. Without our traditions, our lives would be as shaky as a fiddler on the roof.
And there you have it.
Classic.
And who can deny the fact that it's been one of the perennial best shows on Broadway? So again, Danny Burstein did a great job. I'm not sure who's going to be touring with it, but let me see if I can get at least a couple of these shots up. The problem, is that they send these pictures out, and I uploaded as many as I could today, but they send these pictures out, and they're huge pictures. So by the time I get to scale them back, they tend to be difficult for this program to import. So let me see if I can get this one to open up and to save, and hopefully we can get this to work on that. I think I've got it now. Let's see if it'll work now. This is there we go. And this is the actor who's playing Fiddler. Again, you get an idea about what's going on. The show is going to be on, as I mentioned, in February, at the very end of February. Unfortunately, it's going to be opening on my birthday, the end of February. But it's okay. I'll be there. And it plays until March the 5th. And again, that's a fantastic show. I've got a couple of other pictures that I've got, but Mike, do you remember the first time you saw Fiddler? I mean, I know it's been around a while.
I believe it was with Zero Mostel.
Wow, that goes back. That goes back.
Oh, it does. So do I.
Yeah, was Bette Midler in it? Because she was in the original cast.
I don't remember seeing Bette Midler. I do remember seeing Zero Mostel.
She was not well known at the time that she was in it.
Well, then maybe I did.
Yeah. If it was in the original, again, I don't know because it ran for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see if we can go on. I have a couple more pictures of Fiddler, but they're too big for me to show right now, and I don't want to delay any more than I have to. Moving on after Fiddler, which is in February, we go to the next show, and the next show is going to be at the end of April. Now, normally they don't do shows that conflict with the Jazz Fest. Jazz Fest. But unfortunately, I think Moulin Rouge, which is the next show, and again, I say, that's my my bailiwick is to talk about some of the shows that might conflict, but with other events. But normally we don't have that conflict. But I think that if I'm not mistaken, they've got Moulin Rouge slated to go. Oh, good. It is early. I had it down wrong. April the 5th through the 16th. That's good because they know better than to schedule any shows during Jazz Fest. April 5th to April 16th. And so that will be right before Jazz Fest. And I do have, I'm hoping a couple of these pictures here will be, they're all good. Let me show you a couple of shots of some of what was all about Moulin Rouge and get these uploaded. Again, I had so many pictures today. This is Danny Burstein, who we just talked about. He played Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof back in 2016. He won his first Tony Award for his role here. Again, he captivates everyone in this show if you're not familiar with it, but he's fantastic. Again, you've got I don't know exactly if you can get an idea about it, but the show was so fantastic, and the set was so humongous. They have a giant elephant on one side and a giant windmill, if you will, on the other side. It's just a wonderful creativity there on the part of the Broadway producers. Let's see if we can give you another couple of shots of what else is available. The Spectacular uses all kinds of modern music, just like the Bard Lusman show that they did the film. Basically, you've got all of these different people singing modern music, and so they'll use things like Lady Gaga, and they'll use sort of modern songs that you might not expect in the movie Moulin Rouge, which is supposed to take place, obviously, in the 19th century. So it's different than what it was supposed to be said. I wore my tie because I don't know. Can you see my tie?
Yeah, the top of it anyway.
It's a Toulouse-Lautrec, and of course, if you can see at the very top, it says Moulin Rouge. Yeah. So I wore it because I said, what appropriate tie? How many people have a tie for when you're doing something? Now, this is again some of the ladies. They do a very famous piece that was done by Alan Toussaint, which some of you may remember had some rather naughty lyrics to it in French, but eventually I think you get the idea that they try to update the show with different kinds of music, and it's just a really well done show. It won of course the Tony Award for Best Musical, and it's coming to our Saenger Theater. So we're very fortunate to be able to see it, and again, one that I'm sure will sell out quickly if you haven't seen it already. So again, the dates on that, and again, apologies that I said it wrong. April 5th to the 16th, and then the last show of the season, I have not seen, and I'm going to do my best to kind of set it up. But Aaron Sorkin actually now has the record as the, if you will, best box office for any play on Broadway in terms of what it was selling and the seats, etc. Aaron Sorkin wrote a updated play for the Harper Lee novel To Kill a Mockingbird, and it's going to be starring Richard Thomas. Some people remember him as John Boy on the Waltons, but a prominent actor in his own right. And Richard Thomas is going to be playing the part of Atticus Finch. Now, the interesting thing is in many cases you see the parts of Jem and Scout done by young actors, and of course in the film To Kill a Mockingbird with Gregory Peck, there are young actors who play the role of the children, and of course famously Boo Radley was supposed to be a little bit younger than he was, but Robert Duvall played Boo Radley, if you remember, in the movie. A lot of people don't recognize that was Robert Duvall, but yeah, that was him. So the girl and the boy who play Scout and Jem are actually being played by adult actors. So you're not going to see little kids on stage. They have the mannerisms of children, but it's different. So those of you who have not seen this particular version, you're in for a real treat. It's again very successful, and I think that those who have not seen the kids, let me show you some pictures from the cast, and there they are, and you can see they look like they're kids, but they're actually grown actors. And I think it was Cecilia Keenan Bolger won the Tony Award for playing Scout, and her brother's also a fairly famous actor. There's Richard Thomas all the way in the back with the person on trial, Tom. And again, if you're not familiar with the storyline, I suggest you maybe look at the movie or perhaps read the book. Very riveting story. And again, the heart of this whole thing is about Atticus and his relationship with his daughter Scout, and how he is basically taking on this defense that nobody else wants to do, but he believes it's something that has to be done. And again, To Kill a Mockingbird, probably one of the most successful novels of all time. Now, what Aaron Sorkin did do, Mike, since you didn't see it, and again, I haven't seen it, but I've read about it. He updated the character of Calpurnia, who was the maid, if you will, the housekeeper who took care of Atticus and the children. And Calpurnia, who's seen here with Scout, that role was expanded, and she becomes the conscience, if you will, of Atticus Finch, making him do things that maybe the fact that his wife is not there, that she makes him think about things that maybe his wife would have made him do. And it's an important part of the character there. I'm looking forward to seeing it. It is a rarity that the Saenger brings out a play. Tell me, when was the last time you saw that?
Amadeus.
Yes.
That's how long ago.
Yeah. And again, Amadeus is a play with a lot of music in it too. So, it's
but
not
you
like,
wouldn't call it the musical, or at least I didn't.
No, it really is a play with music. But by the same token, this is what we would call straight play, and they will have obviously music that accompanies parts of it, etc. But I want to get back and let everybody know that's going to run May the 30th to June the 4th. So it's really only going to be on for a few days. Again, 5 days, May 30th, 31st, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and then it's over with. So those of you who are interested in seeing Richard Thomas, who've never seen this, is Aaron Sorkin's play about the Deep South in the 30s and injustice, and it raises a lot of questions about relations of different people and the way things were. not a time that was necessarily regarded as the best for the Deep South. But Harper Lee wrote about it. And again, as I think mentioning to you not that long ago, she came out with Go Tell a Watchman, which was the actual original book, the original novel that had been submitted to the publisher. And the publisher said, we don't like this novel that much, but the character that you had of Scout and the relationship she had with her father, that was really interesting. Maybe you could flesh that out a little bit more. And so Harper Lee then took that as a suggestion and wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. And of course, years later, after the success of To Kill a Mockingbird, people went back and said, well, did she ever write anything else? They said, well, actually, yes, she did. They bring out, Go Tell a Watchman. And again, that
completely different tone.
And again, Atticus doesn't come off as the defender of, people that you think that he might be, that he really is more of a good old boy than he comes across in the movie, and of course in the novel, that a lot of what people in that time period did was what was expected of them, and a lot of people didn't cross certain expectations. And if everybody did something one way, it was rare that somebody would go against them. And that was, I think, what was interesting about To Kill a Mockingbird. It was somebody who was going against the crowd, but he did so because of good reasons, I guess you might say. So that's the whole season, Mike. It's a fantastic season.
It is.
And again, we hope to talk to other people throughout the season. I'd love to have some people come on our show and talk about, but it's very difficult to get a lot of people who are touring, because the only day they usually have off is that Monday before the show is on, and they're usually trying to have a good time and not worry about it. But again, I really want to thank you for coming on tonight and talking about what you do. And again, those of you who were not on earlier in the show, Mike Mitchell is the president of the New Orleans Theater Association, and again, responsible for doing a number of good deeds, as it were, granting monies to well-deserved organization. And again, the money.
One quick word before we go is directly to anybody who's listening and is involved in a 501c3 organization that supports the arts. By all means, please consider applying for a grant. It's easy. At least we try to make it as simple as possible, as painless as possible. Go to our website, NewOrleansTheaterAssociation.com. Just the whole thing is spelled out. There's instructions for filling out a grant.
Yeah, you there?
Grants that we did in the past, and everything you need to know.
So I'm hoping I typed it up right, because you know how those things go. NewOrleansTheaterAssociation.com. Let's see if it works. We'll see. NewOrleansTheaterAssociation.com. Does that make it? No, I misspelled Orleans. I misspelled Orleans, so I'll have to.
You've got an extra T, but you got the word theater right.
Yeah,
T-R-E at the end.
Yeah. Anyway, just understand that I tried. I tried. So again, we didn't get any comments tonight. I'm sorry to see that, but I guess everybody was either busy doing other things or they were captivated. This show will be up archived on YouTube. So those of you who missed any of the dates or missed any of the pictures, and I'm sorry I didn't get more pictures up, but it was a humongous number of I mean, you saw how many pictures we had tonight, and there's only so many I can put in after a time, and then I have to kind of like punt. And I've been actually cropping pictures and getting them together for the last several hours prior to the broadcast. And again, hopefully we'll be able to have some other people from the Saenger come on in the next year, to talk about what's coming up for 2023, 2024. I'm putting a note in right now that I'm hoping that we'll get to see MJ the musical, because that was fantastic. But I just don't know who's going to be able to carry on in Miles Frost's place, because he was just so wonderful. I'm not quite sure what other shows are going to be touring, in 2 years, but hopefully we do get them fairly quick. Sometimes we get them quicker than some of the other places, and sometimes we have to wait a year for them to show up. Like I believe Moulin Rouge was actually touring last year in some of the other cities that I know of. So we have to sometimes wait until some of the bigger venues get a chance at, Philadelphia, Cleveland, and some of the other bigger cities before they make it to New Orleans. But hopefully, we'll be able to get our fair share next year as well. But this season is a great season. And again, I want to thank you for being with us. Mike Mitchell of the New Orleans Theater Association. Stick around, Mike, just for a little bit. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody right now. Again, thank you for being with us. This is Alan Smason. Again, this has been NOLA Theater Talk. We broadcast on the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group and the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, as well as to our YouTube channel. We hope that you enjoyed our get-together tonight with Mike Mitchell and the New Orleans Theater Association. Next week, we will see who is coming on. I had hoped to have some representatives from Rivertown talk about their season, but I've not gotten any confirmation yet, so we'll have to see what happens. But if so, we will talk to them next week. And in the meantime, I will see you at the theater.